Okay, in this screencast, we're going to look at how to write APA citations. And we're going to start off, I'm going to use the annotated bibliography page, and we'll start setting that up as well. So the first thing you want to do is put a title at this page, and let's actually just check and make sure we have everything the way we want it. So it's Times New Roman. That's a good font to use, 12 point. You don't want to use anything crazy for this. We want to put this in the center to start off with. And then let's just check. We want it to be double spaced, and we want to make sure there's no before or after, so that needs to be at 0. This is at none. It's all perfect. We're ready to go. So we need to write the title first. This is an annotated bibliography. And we also need the title of your project. So after doing a little research, I decided to narrow mine to using video in distance education, which is kind of funny because I'm currently using video in distance education. So I've got the title, and again, I have 2 parts. You could, if you want, say using video in distance education first, followed by a colon, and then say annotated bibliography, or you can do it this way. Either way is fine. But I need to align this left now for my citations. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that email. I sent this to myself earlier in the last video. And I want to copy and paste this citation. Again, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a good start and it'll save me some time. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that right there. You'll notice, first thing I want to do is make sure that I keep the text only so it's the right formatting. The first thing I see is that this isn't what a citation or a reference page or an annotated bibliography should look like. I want this to be a hanging indent. So I'll go to paragraph again, and under special, I can hit hanging and apply that. So this is what I want it to look like. Now, as I said, a lot of times these are a good place to start, but there's always mistakes. So what we want to do is go to the library and check and see if we've got this right. So in our home page, you can find library links and interesting articles. And here we have well, let's go to the annotated bibliography guide. So this tells you what an annotated bibliography is. We've got a sample right here that we'll look at later. But what we are looking for right now is citations. So we'll go to citations, and we're doing APA. Let's look at some of the basic rules first. So this talks a little bit about formatting, so they need to be double spaced. That talks about the hanging indent. They should not be numbered. If you're missing something in a citation, you leave it out. They need to be alphabetized by the first word. That's important. Make sure that your entries in both your annotated bibliography and then later in your literature review and your analytical report that you alphabetize your reference page. So these are all the details. This is kind of like what happens if something is weird. So let's look. We're looking at what we've got here is a journal. So we need to see how the journals are set up. So we've got author's last name, comma, first initial, period, middle initial, period, year of publication. And then we'll start with that. So what have we got here? We've got last name, comma, first initial, period, middle initial, period, comma, and then there's 2 authors, so we have an ampersand. This is one of the few times you can actually use an ampersand in your writing. And then we have the last name of the second author with the comma, the first initial, period, and then the year. And we've got the year in parentheses and the period after the year. So let's make sure that that is correct. Middle initial, year, period, good. Alright, so let's look at the title. The title of article. We'll notice here that it is not in italics or quotation marks, and that only the T in this is actually capitalized. So let's go back to our thing here. So we've got the capitalization is wrong. And this is a common thing that will happen when you use the email version of it. Make sure you change this capitalization. One exception to this capitalization rule is if there was a proper noun within the title. So if the word New York was in there, then you would capitalize New York, but everything else, as you see, right? So we've got it all uncapitalized except for culturally. So let's check. Now we've got the name of journal should be in italics, and we can see that the capitalization there is normal, and then the volume number followed by, so the name of the journal, comma, volume number, that is also in italics. So let's see what we got. So we don't have it in italics now, so we need to put this in italics, so we're good. This is the issue number. It's in parentheses with a comma and the page range. Let's see if that's correct. We've got, so issue number is in parentheses, comma, and the page range. That's good. We have a period after that. And then the DOI, which is the digital object identifier, or the retrieved from. So when we looked at this article, we didn't see a DOI. There's none here. There wasn't any in our citation. Sometimes they'll list it here. So let's go to the actual article and see if it is in the article. Sometimes they'll put it like up in this top corner, or they'll put it at the bottom, which we don't have. So we don't have a DOI. So what we have to do instead is we will highlight this. We'll copy it and go back to our page. After the period and the page number, we'll say retrieved from, and then we'll just paste that right in there. So you have a couple choices with this. A lot of times this will be hyperlinked, and that's fine as long as it's consistent. So if this one's hyperlinked, the rest of them should be hyperlinked. So that is an example of a journal article. Let's try a book as well, just to give you another sample. And when we went, we saw that one book. So we'll go back there. Oh, here it is. This is the book. So we've got, let's look at our how to cite journals, and let's go to books. How to cite books. So we've got last name, first name, that's all the same, middle initial, your publication, that's good. And then the title of the book where it gets a little bit different, the title and the subtitle. Notice with the title, the first letter is capitalized, and then the first word of the subtitle is capitalized, followed by a period, the addition, if necessary, and then the place of publication in the publisher. So, let's see. Let's go back to our book then. And our author is Judith Betcher. So we're just going to highlight that, not all of it, just the name. We'll copy it. Go back here, we'll paste it. Keep the text only. It's pretty close to what we want, only this should just be a J. I know that that was the only author, so we'll put the parentheses there for the year so that we're ready for it. It was 2010, and I'm also going to want this title here. Online Teaching Survival Guide, we'll copy that. So 2010 period. I'm going to paste this in here. And it looks pretty good, except, so we've got, this is the thing that's capitalized. We need to capitalize this word because it's the subtitle. That looks good. And then because it's a book, we need to italicize it as well. Alright. Now we've got the title in here, the subtitle, and we'll go with the place of, well, we'll look at the edition real quick and see if it's any kind of edition. It's the first edition. And if we look at this one, we look at how they did second edition, it's in parentheses, so we'll do that. We need to make sure it's not italicized. First edition, make sure I got that right. Yep, looks good, except for I put the period at the wrong place, then we need New York, New York. So we'll go back and fix this and just take this period out of here. Put it here. And where was our book published? It is in San Francisco, and Jossie Bass is the publisher, so we'll just go ahead and copy that. And we'll paste it right in here. So I need the state. And it just has the colon after it. And there's a publisher. And we need a period at the end. So this is also not hanging indent. We'll fix that real quick. And done. So those are that's an example of a journal article and a book in the citations. And of course you can find the other options for encyclopedias, journals, magazines, personal communications, and websites either here, or you can find them at the Purdue OWL link that's also in this discussion board.